And a
Bye.
quick reminder, if anyone, I'm leaving early today.
Yes, that's what I was just about to get into. Shannon has to leave us a little early, full screen. And it's 6:20 you have to go, is that right?
Yes.
So to that end, I would actually, since poor Hermione has to wait all the way through these scenes all the time anyway, I'd like to start with your stuff. And then we'll go back, because when we were last week, we got through your section, as I recall. So let's do the what is that? The Act 3, Scene 2 stuff first, and then we'll and I mean that shouldn't take. We won't take up to 6:20 by any means. And then we'll go and look first at the end of the main scene we're working on, Paul, which is Act 2, Scene 1. So we'll basically start with your stuff, so you can get a good crack at it, and then go back and see where we can start all over again. Does that sound reasonable? Good, no objection.
And we're going into Act 3, Scene 1, and stopping where?
We're doing Act 3, Scene 1. It won't really. Oh, Act 3, Scene 1.
No,
Yeah.
Act 3, Scene 2, I think.
Act 3, Scene 2.
I see.
It's really only Leontes and Hermione, and it was to give Hermione, Shannon a little more to do. So let's start with that. But before that, is there anything anyone wants to say? There's some great revelation that came to you in the shower over the weekend that has to do with the play, just to do with what we're working on. Paul, do you have any questions, sort of general things that you want to ask, but that you think we may have left you behind on?
No, I think not. I think I watched and listened to last week's wonderful exchange, and no, I don't think so. Some of the stuff opened my eyes to certain things, and I think my questions will come up as I go through it and dig in deep. Questions will arise, but none right now, I don't think.
Excellent. I'm glad you watched it. I tried to read the transcript, and it makes me in particular, because I talk so goddamn much, but almost everyone except Gideon, of course, sound.
Try not to feel self-conscious that it's transcribing what you're doing tonight too.
Yeah, I'm just going to give up on it. It makes me sound like an idiot. If you read it, you don't get the essence. I am an actor. You have to
missing that. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you watched it.
But can I just tell Paul that the line numbers in 3-2 that we're doing are 71 through 116.
Aha.
Just so you know where it is.
Thank you for that. I just tried to copy 71 through 190.
Is it 116 or is it 123?
Wait,
123 would make more sense.
Oh, it's I'm sorry, I was looking at my other edition. You're right. It's whatever line it is where she says, "Apollo be my judge."
Right.
And does it start with more than mistress of? Which comes
no, it starts with now for conspiracy,
which is in the middle of her big speech there. It's about line 75. It's the middle of line 76, actually.
Got it.
Our stuff.
Sorry about that. I forgot that the Folger line numbering is different from the Arden. So
okay, yeah, it's all close enough. But along those lines, speaking of lines, as I was looking at this, I would just once. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to work on. But I would just once like to give the two of you a little more still of this scene, because it occurs to me. Well, I'll tell you what I've done. Reset. Chris and Shannon, Paul, I've worked with Chris and Shannon before, so they may be familiar with some of these little thingies that I do. One of them that I like to do is go through the script and literally make a line and name the beats or the sections, and they're it's not written in stone. It's my take on what's going on in a sort of larger sense over a certain chunk of text. It's usually maybe half a page. Sometimes it can be, you know, just a couple of speeches, but it tends to be a page or so, let's say, for lack of a better term, of what the whole thrust of the scene. Now, each character in it will have her or his own particular objective. And those are things you can work on and we can agree on or not agree on. I don't think everybody always has to agree on everybody's objective in a scene. But I do think that we want to have a feeling of what is going on in these chunks. So I have given some names to these things. I'm going to tell you where they are and the names I've picked, and we can start with that and we can discuss it more later. But let's start with these. And to that end, let's start this scene today, just so you can get a little more of a feel for it. Let's start this scene with, at the top of this page that I have, with Leontes' line, it must be like 55. I ne'er heard yet that any of these bolder vices wanted less impudence to gainsay what they did than to perform it first. Do you see that line, Chris?
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
I didn't print it, so I just have to pull it up on my screen.
Yeah, give yourselves time to look at this. And, you know, for you guys, it's going to be a bit of a cold read. It's fairly straightforward, though.
I only have the printed.
You only have the printed thing?
Yeah. I mean, I have a sense in the scene of what's leading up to this, but and just for my own.
Well, let's.
Sorry, I stopped it. I don't know why I'm saying that.
Where do you have it printed from? Where do you have it from?
That's just where we're starting the scene. So.
Where do you have it from?
No, I never heard yet that any of those bolder vices wanted less impudence. I have that. It's sort of coming out of nowhere. That's all. But that's okay, because we're just starting there to lead into the text we're doing.
Yeah. This will do. You're talking about her being a bed swerver.
Yeah.
I named this. I started this chunk there, again, just for argument's sake, with Leontes' line, and it goes through the end of Hermione's line, about line 81, "Wanting no more than I are ignorant." And I named that chunk "Answering the Charges," because you'll see Hermione's answer to what you have put out here is a fairly straightforward response to the charges that you're giving her. From your next line, from Leontes, "You knew of his departure, as you know what you have undertaken to do in his absence." I'm through. Look for no less than death. That's line 97. So from "you knew of his departure" through death, I'm calling upping the ante. And in parentheses, I just put "to a death sentence." I mean, we're going from an accusation to a certain death sentence. Mm-hmm. And also in parentheses, I put "going beyond reason." He's really going out there, but upping the ante is enough. And Hermione, I named your speech from "Sir, spare your threats" on to "giving over to the gods." It could also be resigning. I don't like the word resigning because that has a kind of it's less active than I like the word giving. But the idea is you are giving yourself, Apollo be my judge. It's that, right? Which, and the reason I wanted to do this whole bit that we're about to do is because it's very reasonable at the beginning. He gets so unreasonable. You answer him in the only way you can, by going to the highest authority, who is, and you know, we're living in this period, the period we're in, Shakespeare's period. We're still talking about the divine right of kings. It's being questioned, and the Magna Carta was, you know, hundreds of years before. But kings and gods were, and God for Shakespeare and his contemporaries they were inextricably intertwined, and that continued on. And Gideon, you can stop me anytime that I get too far off here.
I will if necessary.
Thank you. This, obviously, Winter's Tale is in a pre-Christian time, but the idea of invoking a god in relation to a ruler is something that is alive in the minds of the people who are hearing this play. That's sort of the progression of the scene. So I'm glad I saw you guys writing these things down. As I said, we can talk about them, change them, but those are the chunks I've seen to begin with. So having said, pardon?
Thinking of writing them down, Geoffrey, what was the name of the second one? Something death?
Upping the ante.
That's the one that goes down to the line, look for no less than death?
Yes.
And what was the name of the first one?
Answering the charges.
Entering the charges. Got it. Thank you, sir.
So let's just have a go at it, nice and easy. But with those three shifts in mind as to how the scene's progressing. Whenever you're ready.
I ne'er heard yet that any of these bolder vices wanted less impudence to gainsay what they did than to perform it first.
That's true enough, though 'tis a saying, sir, not due to me.
You will not own it.
More than mistress of which comes to me in name of fault, I must not at all acknowledge. For Polixenes, with whom I am accused, I do confess I loved him as in honor he required, with such a kind of love as might become a lady like me, with a love even such, so and no other as yourself commanded, which not to have done, I think, had been in me both disobedience and ingratitude to you and toward your friend, whose love had spoke, even since it could speak from an infant freely, that it was yours. Now for conspiracy, I know not how it tastes, though it be dished for me to try how. All I know of it is that Camillo was an honest man, and why he left your court, the gods themselves, wotting no more than I, are ignorant.
You knew of his departure, as you know what you have undertaken to do in his absence.
Sir, you speak a language that I understand not. My life stands in the level of your dreams, which I'll lay down.
Your actions are my dreams. You had a bastard by Polixenes, and I but dreamed it. As you were past all shame, those of your fact are so past all truth, which to deny concerns more than avails. For as thy brat hath been cast out, like to itself, no father owning it, which is indeed more criminal in thee than it, so thou shalt feel our justice in those in whose easiest passage look for no less than death.
Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fright me with I seek. To me can life be no commodity? The crown and comfort of my life, your favor I do give lost, for I do feel it gone, but know not how it went. My second joy, the first fruits of my body, from his presence I am barred like one infectious. My third comfort, starred most unluckily, is from my breast the innocent milk in its most innocent mouth hailed out to murder. Myself on every post proclaimed a strumpet, with immodest hatred the childbed privilege denied which longs to women of all fashion. Lastly, hurried here to this place of the open air before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive that I should fear to die. Therefore proceed. But yet hear this, mistake me not, no life, I prize it not a straw, but for mine honor, which I would free. If I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else but what your jealousies awake, I tell you 'tis rigor, and not law. Your honors all I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
Very nice. Questions? Anything? Reactions?
Bug is such an interesting choice of word.
Bugaboo. You could think of it as meaning bugaboo or bugbear.
It's got like this sort of, even Bugaboo has this sort of childhood,
Right.
scary story. I mean, yeah.
Interesting also, in the earlier scene, he uses the image of a spider in the drink that, if you know it's there, it kills you or it makes you vomit. And if you don't know, it doesn't scare you at all. I don't know if the little boy, Mamilius, mentions it, but it does seem like a childlike term. And it brings, it brings up that image of a child.
It's treating him as a child in a sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My question about that line, if I'm allowed to comment and ask questions of a scene that I'm not in.
Sure, as long as you're not directing people.
Is not so much the use of the word bug, because it also in my ear as an audience member brings up feelings like annoyance or nuisance, which is what a bug is. But she says, the thing you're trying to threaten me with, I am seeking it. That I always found a curious line.
Yes, it's great. As you say, it's a minor thing. It's a nothing. It's a bug, and then she compares it almost immediately to a crown, to her joy, the first fruit. I mean, it's a little nothing compared to all the things she's lost.
He doesn't mean bug in the sense of an insect. He means a false terror, an imaginary terror. So that's the primary meaning of the word. You're right that it has that other association for us, but I don't think it did necessarily for Shakespeare's audience.
But my curiosity is, why does she say that she seeks it? And then she basically says, my life is not worth anything anymore. So is she talking about death?
Yes.
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 Yeah, he says the bug is death. It's the death.
He says, no, look for no less than death. I mean, it might be more, it might torture you first, but you're going to die for what you did. And the interesting part, or interesting thing, Shannon, for you is when do you make this shift from trying to answer the charges, which is what happens in this first speech that I'd like to look at in a little more detail. I mean, you're dealing with actual things. The departure of Camillo. It's not a spiritual question or anything like that. It's like I don't know what you're talking about. And she literally says, you speak a language I do not understand. And what'll be interesting for the actress to investigate is at what point does Hermione decide that death is that she's again, I hate to use the word resign, but that she's willing to accept death. It's a kind of it's part of her upbringing too. I remember she is the daughter of the Empress of Russia and things like that. These are people, at least as far as we know in the plays, for whom there were honorable deaths. There was an honorable way to go about that. It wasn't something always to be afraid of.
Well, and I think she's very clear that she is willing to accept death, but she's not willing to accept the loss of her honor. And
Yes.
that defending herself against the charges at the beginning of the scene is still important, because if she is going to die, she wants on record what her defense is.
Mm-hmm.
But once death is on the table, it's sort of flipping the book and saying, here's all the things you've done to me. You think death is scary? Why
Right.
is death why do you think death is scary? You've taken away all the things that I was living for.
Exactly.
And I think
The last thing that I have here alive that I should fear to die. That's, I mean, it could, I mean, the antithesis there could hardly be clearer. And I think it helps Hermione, it helps you, if that, the resignation it's not there in that first speech. The first speech is a sort of a legal brief almost. So you in the sense of answering the charges, the reason you're answering the charges is maybe you can still change his mind. Maybe he still pertains to reason in some way. But when it becomes clear that he doesn't, you move to it seems to me, you move to a different plane, a plane of, it's not about facts anymore. It's about my sacred honor. It's important to these people how you die. Gideon has this great thing, and it's a central turning point in Hamlet, that he can settle everything by killing Claudius when he's at prayer, right? He could do it. Now might I do it, Pat? I can do it. I can do it. Oh no, I can't, because he'll die well.
I won't do it, because I don't want him. I don't want him just dead. I want him damned. That's the key.
Yeah, I want him damned. So the way he dies is important. It means something to these characters and to the people who are, again, hearing it. So
let me can I just add that I will probably say this too many times, but she's always associated with grace, with the word grace and the idea of grace. And the fact that she emphasizes honor, she believes in eternal values. She believes that the honor will live on, that it matters to her children, her descendants. And I think she also doesn't, this isn't explicit, of course, but she doesn't think of death as nothingness, because she doesn't think of anything as nothingness. She lives in a moral universe where it matters how you die, it matters how you live, it matters what you live for, and therefore the dying a death that is not dishonorable is much preferable to, as you said, Shannon, living a life without all the things that give life its meaning.
Right. Yeah, all of that, and the sort of actorly thing that I think is fun for you is always to never get ahead of yourself. Not that you should, but Hermione. We always think of Hermione as the embodiment of grace and intelligence. That she doesn't weep. She says in the earlier scene, because her what's burning in her extinguishes the weeping. She's strong, and there's a certain serenity to her, all that statue stuff. But she is still, and this is always the most interesting thing in Shakespeare, she's trying to figure out what's going on until she realizes that she has to take her own course, which is why I wanted to do this again, this whole scene. So you had a chance to feel in these, whatever it is, 15, 20 lines here, more than mistress, of which comes to me in name of fault, I must not at all acknowledge. And then you do it for Polixenes, this. Then you name, you enumerate this. I loved him as in honor, with a kind of love might suit a lady like me, a love that you yourself commanded. Those are three different things. I mean, it's the traditional, iron rule of three. You lay out three things in answer to that. And then give him a little, that little scolding thing is almost a sidebar. You commanded me to it. You guys were like that since kids. I don't, what's going on here? And now for conspiracy, then you just move on to the next thing. Conspiracy is another thing you said. You said, I've conspired with Camilla. Let me answer that. All I know is Camilla's honest and he left. I don't know. I do not know anything more. Then he says, you did know. And she says, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't make any, you're dreaming this. And his answer, and Leontes, I think this helps her if your actions are my dreams, you had a bastard about Polixenes, if you're sort of just barely hanging on to reason at this point. There's earlier in here, oh yeah, she says, that's true enough, though 'tis a saying, sir, not due to me. You will not own it. I'm not, I think that you could perhaps play with how he does that. I mean, is it a question or is it a sort of outraged statement? It's like you're not admitting what's true. Maybe.
I'd say at this point, I don't think it would be a question at this point. He's so,
or it could be,
it's more like that's just another infraction. That's just another part of her treachery. It's like you're not.
Oh my gosh.
It's part of her stuff. But if you'll excuse me for a minute, I think I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the video for a second.
Okay.
I'm just trying to backtrack because I want to understand Leontes' first line that I agree with by saying that's true enough, though 'tis a saying, sir, not due to me. What is he's referring to something that I'm talking about by saying, I ne'er heard yet that any of these bolder vices. Do we know what those are?
It's difficult because he's speaking in double negatives. And these doesn't refer to any specific ones. He means vices, bold vices in general.
Okay.
Any bold vices. Anybody who's committed a bold vice does not lack the impudence to deny what they did, or no less impudence. It takes no less impudence to deny what you did than to do it in the first place. So he's saying, yeah, you're denying this. That's because since you had the boldness to do it, you would have the boldness to deny it.
Okay.
Wanted means lacked. So they didn't lack less impudence. They didn't lack less impudence to deny what they did than to perform it in the first place. They had plenty of impudence to deny it because as much as they had to do it. So you don't want to get tied up in the negatives.
Her speech before this is a long answer to his to the actual indictment. Leontes says, read the indictment, and an official reads a lengthy indictment of what you did, according to Leontes. And you say, well, it's going to hardly do me any good to say not guilty. You're holding it against me. um, you say, it's wrong that I'm here, a fellow of the royal bed, to stand around and talk about how innocent I am. I say, I owe a moiety of the throne, which means I owe, what is it, 10%? Is that a moieties?
It just means a portion.
I owe a portion of the
It
throne.
sometimes means a half, but
Yeah, that's right. I'm a great king's daughter, the mother to a hopeful prince. And I'm standing here to prate and talk for life and honor for anybody who wants to stand around and listen to it. She says, she's basically saying, I absolutely did not do any of these things. Look at who I am. Look at the way I've been for my entire life. And his answer is, yeah, that's what people always say. It doesn't take any boldness to say you're innocent.
he reduces all her arguments to just gainsaying what she did, just denying.
Yeah,
That's all.
No,
he doesn't hear the details. And this is, so there's a correspondence going on between the wildness of his accusations and the spreading effect of them, and his incapacity to register the particulars of what she's saying. He can't hear them because they don't fit his dreamlike or benighted picture.
Something we should be so familiar with these days. It seems hard to believe, but that's what he just keeps saying. I mean, she I don't know how long that speech is. It's 30 lines or so about sort of answering the accusations and saying who she is. And he just says, well, yeah, you were impudent in doing the act. You could certainly be impudent in denying it. Impudent is a good word too, because it makes it, I don't know, impudent makes me think of naughtiness,
Right, it's the opposite of the chastity that she's claimed in the speech.
Yeah, great, exactly. So I think that's true enough is another one of these lines that I think she's almost baffled at his answers. I mean, who am I? Yeah, that's true. That's an old saying. That's like a stitch in time saves nine.
But it's also true of people who are guilty. It really is true of people who are guilty.
Yeah.
She's not.
That's right. She says, that's true enough. It's a good saying. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. And he says, well, it's only because you won't confess to it. Gather yourself together and answer him again by rote almost. He says, no, you did this. I don't understand what you're talking about. So I just wanted to give you this part of the scene anyway, to get up to the point where you're capable of saying, in a way, I would rather die than keep going with this. It's not going to, I've laid out the facts so many times. You know who I am. You're just saying no, then take my life. But you cannot take my honor. You cannot take my honor. That happens somewhere in here. And that's for you to play with, to see what happens. You okay, Chris? All right.
Yeah, just this just spontaneously fell off the wall, apparently.
Oh God.
Which is happens.
What is it?
What is it? It's a vase.
Oh.
It's by a potter from Seattle who's a friend of mine. And I really love it. It looks like bamboo, and it's
bamboo.
Yeah, but it's a Japanese style of pottery that she's really good at. But
right.
Fixable.
All right.
It scared Miles though, because it just fell off the wall right next to him.
Yes.
You're like, wah!
Did you have a question, Paul, or observation?
A question about Hermione's final speech when she's listing all the things that have been done to her. And then she says, proclaimed a strumpet. And then she says, the childhood privilege denied with immodest hatred. which longs to women of all fashion. Is she saying all women long to hold their newborns in the childbed?
Shannon?
Or
My
I'm going to let you
understanding.
answer.
yeah,
Okay, my understanding of that line is that no matter what your station in life, from a queen to a servant, you're given time to be in bed and rest, often usually with your child after giving birth. But instead she is here in a courtroom.
so longs in this
And longs
sense
is
belongs.
belongs. Exactly.
Yeah, that right belongs. And when she says of all fashion, is she including even a strumpet would have this or not?
Even a strumpet if she's giving birth, yes.
Yeah. Good
Okay.
question, but yes. I love that Gideon and I both did exact same thing. It's all stations, all fashions, all.
So she's saying, even if you're calling me a strumpet, even if you believe I'm a strumpet, I should still be allowed to hold my newborn in my bed, in the bed. Okay.
And not be sent into court when I'm still recovering from childbirth.
Yeah.
I mean, she, not intentionally, but the line is reinforcing the blindness of Leontes to what he's doing, to the reality of what he's doing.
Great. Let's go through this again, just for fun, just to make sure we have a couple of cracks at it. I wrote a couple of things down here.
And I've got one, I think. Yes. While you're looking what you wrote down, Shannon, at line 120, what your jealousy's awake, you're building to the climax. I tell you 'tis rigor and not law, and then Apollo be my judge. So I would hit that jealousy's hard. It's like you're summing all this, you're summing up everything that he's done to you, and recognizing the cause is nothing in reality, but only his suddenly appearing jealousy. And it's an accusation. It's the first time she's really saying to him, it's not the first time, but she's now accusing him. This is your jealousy, and this is rigor and not law. So that's the punch that she needs to give to defend her honor.
I just wanted to reiterate what I said before, Shannon, about this speech. It's great because you go for Polixenes, and then later on you go for conspiracy. So for Polixenes, I do confess, and I think you can really think of it this way. 1, I loved him as an honor he required. 2, with such a love as might be that a lady like me. And 3, with a love even such, just give yourself a little ladder to climb there. Right? Because each of those one isn't general. It's I'm not going to explain every bit of it.
Yeah.
I heard something which I think I might want to encourage in terms of meter and rhythm and all that. I know not for conspiracy. I know not how it tastes. Strikes me as I forget the term of art for it, Gideon, where every one of those can be a stressed syllable. I think it helps with you're kind of rhythmically slapping him in the face.
It's spondees. You're talking about
spondees. They're spondees. They're all stressed syllables. Again, this is a bit of a fielder's choice, but I think
it's monosyllables.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's monosyllables. It's like this is your final part of the of answering the charges. Now for conspiracy, maybe I'll explain this to you like a child. I know not how it right? It just gives you a chance to really kind of shake up the rhythm a little bit. I think there's a reason that he presented that for you. You can also do it, I know not how it tastes, which is a little more in iambic rhythm. I just want to present that possibility to you. Chris.
Yes.
This line, and I but dreamed. We go, my life stands at the level of your dreams. Your actions are my dreams. You had a best by Polixenes, and I but dreamed it. So this is the third dream. Why don't you see if you can get more juice out of that, more mocking in it?
Well, I think I can.
You had a bastard, and I dreamed it. I dreamed it. You're talking about dreams? If just the... If every time you can touch that horrible nerve that we all have of when you've been left or hurt, or your partner's off with somebody else. I mean, and the more graphic you can make it in your own mind, the better. The more you see those two together, the better.
I think that it could be bitter sarcasm too.
Yeah.
Not so much the question, are you really saying that I just...
Oh, I don't think it's a question at all. I think it is sarcasm.
Yeah. Sarcasm, mockery, whatever the right word is. I want to give you license to go as far as you want to go.
Yeah.
Partly because it's great for you, and it gives Hermione something. The more you're beyond reason, the better. I had one question. This is just to save me looking it up. I meant to earlier. And Shannon, I'd like you to answer before Gideon. To me, can life be no commodity? What is commodity?
I've been using value as a replacement, but in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm open to other options.
That's good. Are you looking in a lexicon?
I'm just looking at a note. It's got profit, comfort, advantage. I can look at a lexicon too. But that's the idea.
Yeah, that's good. Value, advantage, commodity is also, it's a
I like
basic.
comfort.
It's a given. Comfort. Okay, good.
Stock or supply or quantity it can mean, or profit or gain or proceeds, or
I think it's less those, but
it can be. I
no
think
stock.
Not that you were doing it
Black.
wrong. I just wanted to hear it. So let's stop talking.
It's an unusual use of that word.
Yeah, it is. Let's do it again. Just everybody take a second, shake your shoulders out, and let's go through this again.
Shall we? I ne'er heard yet that any of these bolder vices wanted less impudence to gainsay what they did than to perform it first.
That's true enough, though 'tis a saying, sir, not due to me.
You will not own it.
More than mistress of which comes to me in name of fault, I must not at all acknowledge. For Polixenes, with whom I am accused, I do confess, I loved him as in honor he required, with such a kind of love as might become a lady like me, with a love even such so and no other as yourself commanded, which not to have done, I think, had been in me both disobedience and ingratitude to you, and toward your friend whose love had spoke, even since it could speak, from an infant freely that it was yours. Now, for conspiracy, I know not how it tastes, though it be dished for me to try how. All I know of it is that Camillo was an honest man, and why he left your court, the gods themselves, wotting no more than I, are ignorant.
You knew of his departure as you know what you have undertaken to do in his absence.
Sir, you speak a language that I understand not. My life stands in the level of your dreams, which I'll lay down.
Your actions are my dreams. You had a bastard by Polixenes, and I but dreamed it. As you were past all shame, those of your fact are so past all truth, which to deny concerns more than avails. For as thy brat hath been cast out, like to itself no father owning it, which is indeed more criminal in thee than it, so thou shalt feel our justice, in whose easiest passage look for no less than death.
Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fright me with, I seek. To me can life be no commodity. The crown and comfort of my life, your favor, I do give lost, for I do feel it gone, but know not where it went. My second joy, the first fruits of my body, from his presence I am barred like one infectious. My third comfort, starred most unluckily, is from my breast the innocent milk in it most innocent mouth, haled out to murder. Myself on every post proclaimed a strumpet, with immodest hatred the childbed privilege denied which longs to women of all fashion. Lastly, hurried here to this place of the open air before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive that I should fear to die. Therefore proceed, but yet hear this. Mistake me not, no life, I prize it not a straw, but for mine honor, which I would free. If I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else but what your jealousies awake, I tell you 'tis rigor and not law. Your honors all, I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
Nice, guys. Chris, there you go.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really
That's
good,
your-
Shannon. That was wonderful.
That's your baseline now.
Yeah.
You, Chris, cannot go too far because your inherent taste will at some point or something. But
That's generous of you.
but that's great because now we get her propelled into that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to go over this again. Next time we do, we're going to be doing this technique that I can't remember if I did with you guys on Crucible or not. It's hard to do on Zoom, but where you pick up as much of a line as you can and then address it directly to the person in the scene. It's quite slow, but it's really valuable. Among other things, it slows you down. I think, Shannon, you've absolutely got this, and I think you can afford now to take much more time. Again, because we have the luxury of 4 weeks of table work on just a couple of little scenes. You can afford to not have any obligation to pacing or to picking up cues or anything like that, so that you can really think your way through this. Because Shakespeare's asking a lot of you, although he gives you that big speech before. But to go from this,
And then he gives me an epically long sentence.
Yeah, that's an epically long sentence, but
for
there's
Polixenes,
yeah,
all the way to now for conspiracy.
yes, that is one sentence, but you can, which means that
She's
using Gideon's arrow analogy, you are aiming for that last bit, but you go down some side canyons, but you're still headed for the same campground.
And if you are, we'll go with you. It's not
Exactly.
He's built it so that you can get there. It's not going to derail you.
It absolutely is, and believe it or not, often in this kind of a thing, if you do, and again, I think this is quite well punctuated. I'd give you even a little more. you can let the commas and semicolons and stuff really be your friend. You don't have there's no obligation here to. I know there's some enjammed lines here, but I just think you can afford to take more time. I'm not going to go on about it anymore. But very nice, guys. This is.
Can I just
yes,
just three little things. Chris, when you say you will not own it, it's a direct answer to due to me, which you did. It's not due to me, you will not own it, but I think you can bring out own more. In that, I think that's the key word of that sentence. That's all I want to say. I just want to make sure that everybody gets that fact means faction. Those of your fact means those of your faction. He's accusing her of being in a faction, which is the enemy of monarchy. And lastly, Shannone, your next to last line, I wouldn't hit do, I'd hit refer. With this big stress on oracle, but when Shakespeare puts in a do for the meter, it doesn't mean he wants you to hit it. In modern language, when we put in a do, it's because we want you to hit it in modern theater. But in Shakespeare, sometimes he does, but usually not. And I think here not. I think it's I do refer, bump, 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 bum, which is a trochee followed by an I am, which throws stress on the fourth syllable. Bump, 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 bum. I do refer me to the oracle. Your honors all, I, so it's your and I, and then you go to refer, and that throws you to the end of the thought. I'm elaborating too much, but that's my point. Done.
I'd go with that. Good. Excellent. So let's go now to let's go to our first scene. Our Act 2, Scene 1. And I'm going to give you these my scene breakdowns again, so we're all literally on the same page, at least to start with. Again, this is not gospel, but it's a starting place for us. So where were we going to... Where did we agree to start this? With how blessed am I, or earlier?
I thought it was when Leontes entered.
Who was he met there? His train, Camilla, with him.
From Leontes' entrance.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I will be the Lord. Good. I actually started this. Now we can start it with his first line, which is, I guess, 43. And it goes through through Leontes' line about 68. I note too well. I'm calling this beat affirming the truth. Affirming the truth. Then starting with your line, Leontes, give me the boy. I'm calling this moving to action. And parenthetically, I said, now that the truth is settled, but moving to action. And that's a fairly short. It only goes from there, which is line whatever 68, through Leontes. For Polixenes has made thee swell thus, and then Mamilius's exit. So this next beat, starting with, but I'd say he had not, goes all the way through, so that's about line 79 through 128, Leontes' line. He who shall speak for her is a far off guilty, but that he speaks.
What line is that, Geoffrey?
79 to 128.
There you are.
Okay, got it.
And I'm calling that fighting for the truth as I see it. Because it's just the two of you trying to determine whose truth is going to prevail. The next bit, which starts with Hermione, there's some ill planet reigns through her exit, which is go, do our bidding, hence. I called this, the first thing I wrote was looking for help. It might be looking for understanding or looking for a different outcome. She might be looking to the heavens, looking to Leontes, looking to the people around her, but she's looking for help.
It's line 129 through 151.
Thank you. From starting with the Lord, beseech your highness, call the queen again, through 194, the Lord says, be blamed for it how you might. So that's 94, I think.
195.
195. I'm going to call that beat saving Leontes, and in parentheses, from himself. These two guys trying to see what's going on. They're trying to save him. Which, of course, means saving Hermione, but Leontes is there, so you can actually work on him. And then starting with Leontes' line of 196, well, why, what need we commune with you of this? Till the end of the scene, through Antigonus' line, asserting my authority. And again, sort of the parenthetical things I put were therefore asserting my sense of self, no doubt allowed. He can't allow himself to doubt any of this. He's inch thick, knee deep in this.
And he's used to it. He's used to thinking like that because he's a king.
He is a king. And the other thing I put, the other parenthetical thing was as aligned with God, because that he again is invoking the oracle, with whom in a way he is sort of equivalent.
He's actually making the oracle a tool of his own image, because he's sure the oracle is going to reinforce what he thinks.
Yes. Now I have an interesting question here, just before we, or maybe we'll read it and then I have my question. I won't even pose it yet. How much longer do we have you for, Shannon?
Like 15 minutes.
15 minutes? Let's read all the way through it then. We'll read all the way through it. You maybe just take off when we're done, and then we'll work Antigonus's stuff. So I will stay with you to read various lords. But now we have Antigonus. So good. Let's just get to it.
All right. Was he met there? His train, Camillo with him?
Behind the tuft of pines I met them. Never saw I men scour so on their way. I eyed them even to their ships.
How blessed am I in my just censure, in my true opinion. Alack for lesser knowledge. How accursed in being so blessed. There may be a cup. There may be in the cup a spider steeped, and one may drink, depart, and yet partake no venom, for his knowledge is not infected. But if one present the abhorred ingredient to the eye, make known how he hath drunk, he cracks his gorge, his sides with violent hefts. I have drunk and seen the spider. Camillo was his help in this, his pander. There is a plot against my life, my crown. All's true that is mistrusted. That false villain whom I employed was pre-employed by him. He has discovered my design, and I remain a pinched thing, yea, a very trick for them to play at will. How came the postern so easily opened?
Geoffrey.
You're mute, Geoffrey.
Sorry. By his great authority, which often hath no less prevailed than so on your command.
I know it too well. Give me the boy. I am glad you did not nurse him. Though he does bear some signs of me, yet you have too much blood in him.
What is this? Sport?
Bear the boy hence. He shall not come about her. Away with him, and let her sport herself with that she's big with. For 'tis Polixenes has made thee swell thus.
But I'd say he had not, and I'll be sworn you would believe my saying, howe'er you lean to the wayward.
You, my lords, look on her. Mark her well. Be but about to say she is a goodly lady, and the justice of your hearts will thereto add, 'tis pity she's not honest, honorable. Praise her but for this her without door form, which on my faith deserves high speech, and straight the shrug, the ha, those petty brands that calumny doth use. Oh, I am out. That mercy does, for calumny will sear virtue itself. These shrugs, these hms and ha's, when you have said she's goodly, come between, ere you can say she's honest. But be it known from him that has most cause to grieve it should be, she's an adulteress.
Should a villain say so, the most replenished villain in the world, he were as much more villain. You, my lord, do but mistake.
You have mistook, my lady, Polixenes for Leontes. Ah, thou thing, which I'll not call a creature of thy place, lest barbarism, making me the precedent, should a like language used to all degrees and mannerly distinguishment leave out betwixt the prince and the beggar. I have said she's an adulteress, I have said with whom. More, she's a traitor, and Camillo is a federary with her, and one that knows what she should shame to know herself. But with her most vile principle that she's a bed-swerver, even as bad as those that vulgars give bold titles to, aye, and privy to their late escape.
No, by my life, privy to none of this. How will this grieve you when you shall come to clearer knowledge that you thus have published me? Gentle my lord, you scarce can write me throughly than to say you did mistake.
No. If I mistake in these foundations which I build upon, the center is not big enough to bear a schoolboy's top. Away with her to prison. He who shall speak for her is afar off guilty, but that he speaks.
There's some ill planet reigns. I must be patient till the heavens look with an aspect more favorable. Good my lords, I am not prone to weep as our sex commonly are, the want of which fain do perchance shall dry your pities. But I have that honorable grief lodged here, which burns worse than tears drown. Beseech you all, my lords, with thoughts so qualified as your charities shall best instruct you, measure me, and so the king's will be performed.
Shall I be heard?
Who is that goes with me? Beseech your highness, my women may be with me, for you see my plight requires it. Do not weep, good fools, there is no cause. When you shall know your mistress have deserved prison, then abound in tears as I come out. This action I now go on is for my better grace. Adieu, my lord. I never wished to see you sorry. Now I trust I shall. My women, come. You have leave.
Go. Do our bidding. Hence!
Beseech your highness, call the queen again.
Be certain what you do, sir, lest your justice prove violence, in which three great ones suffer, yourself, your queen, your son.
For her, my lord, I dare my life lay down, and will do it, sir. Please accept it, that the queen is spotless in the eyes of heaven, and to you, I mean, in this which you accuse her.
If it proves she's otherwise, I'll keep my stables where I lodge my wife. I'll go in couples with her. Then when I feel and see her, no farther trust her. For every inch of woman in the world, aye, every dram of woman's flesh is false, if she be.
Hold your pieces.
Good my lord.
It is for you we speak, not for ourselves. You are abused, and by some putter on that will be damned for it. Would I knew the villain, I would land damn him. Be she honor flawed? I have 3 daughters. The eldest is 11, the second and the third 9, and some 5. If this prove true, they'll pay for it. By mine honor, I'll geld them all. 14 they shall not see to bring false generations. They are co-heirs, and I had rather glib myself than they should not produce fair issue.
Cease. No more. You smell this business with as a sense as cold as a dead man's nose. But I do see it and feel it, as you feel doing thus, and see with all the instruments that feel.
If it be so, we need no grave to bury honesty. There's not a grain of it, the faith to sweeten of the whole dungy earth.
What? Lack I credit?
I had rather you did lack than I, my lord, upon this ground. And more it would content me to have her honor true than your suspicion. Be blamed for it how you might.
Why, what need we commune with you of this? But rather follow our forceful instigation. Our prerogative calls not your counsels, but our natural goodness imparts this, which if you, or stupefied or seeming so in skill, cannot or will not relish a truth like this, if you will relish a truth like us, inform yourselves. We need no more of your advice. The matter, the loss, the gain, the ordering on't is all properly ours.
And I wish, my liege, you had only in your silent judgment tried it, without more overture.
How could that be? Either thou art more ignorant by age, or thou art born a fool. Camillo's flight, added to their familiarity, which was as gross as ever touched conjecture, that lacked sight only, not for approbation, but only seeing. All other circumstances made up the deed, doth push on this proceeding. Yet for a greater confirmation, for in an act of this importance 'twere most piteous to be wild, I have dispatched in post to sacred Delphos to Apollo's temple, Cleomenes and Dion, whom you know of stuffed sufficiency. Now, from the oracle they will bring all whose spiritual counsel shall stop or spur me. Have I done well?
Well done, my lord.
Though I am satisfied and need no more than what I know, yet shall the oracle give rest to the minds of others, such as he whose ignorant credulity will not come up to the truth. So have we thought it good from our free person she should be confined, lest that the treachery of those 2 fled hence be left her to perform. Come, follow us, we are to speak in public, for this business will raise us all.
To laughter, as I take it, if the good truth were known.
Good. Shannon. Let me just take a couple of real quick thoughts and do just duck out whenever you need to.
Shannon, let me just correct one word. You said, however you lean to the wayward, but it's nayward.
Nayward, yeah.
Yes, that was
negation.
The very thing I was about to say. And I'm getting this, but I just want to remind you of it, that remember at all times that she does love him. She's baffled. Everyone is baffled by what's happened to him, but she, all the way through, she loves him. It's like a bad child, you know. You still love him, but it's like it's driving you crazy. So never lose that. It'll help you look to bring him back to sanity rather than punish him for something. There was where you say, no, but my life privy to none of this. You took this great break there, which I just want to encourage. And it's that thing that happens all the time in Shakespeare where, you know, you see, oh, I got 5 lines, I better get through them. But actually the first part is simply an answer to what he's just said, which you did perfectly. No, I didn't know any about this. Then this is a whole new thought. Boy, this is really, do you know what you're saying? This is going to really get to you. And so you did it. You can go further with that shift in thought. You're taking us to a whole new thing. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. Oh yes, this thing about I'm not prone to weeping as our sex commonly are. The want of which vain dew perchance shall dry your pities. Just make sure that you're saying, you know, how can I put this? The fact that you don't see me crying may make you think that I'm not worthy of pity or of your concern. I don't know what I wrote is, don't blame me for that.
Okay.
Just so it's a little clearer. It's not a you're not. I don't want a note of pity in there. It's an instruction. And don't listen to what I'm saying. Don't be deceived by the fact that I'm not crying. You should still be pitying me. Just understand what I'm saying.
It's followed by an antithesis, but I have that honorable grief lodged here. So that refutes their temptation to not pity her because she's not crying. While we're there, I want to see on the camera that you're indicating your heart.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I have for you. And I'm gonna let you go.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right.
So much. Great. Come along. Great.
Great. Rest.
Good work, Shannon.
Like I said, we are going to do that next week. So take a look at this a couple of times so you get a little more familiar with the lines, all of us. Okay. Yeah. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Paul.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about you.
All right.
Do you have any questions now you want to bring up, or anything?
No, not really. I made a choice of how to play him. Do you want him more like? Do you want him a bit more tender, a bit more reverent to Leontes, or you like him as fiery as I went there? What I'm playing is, what the fuck are you doing, man? What are you talking about? This is madness. That's what I was going for.
I think you're also a advisor to the king of the realm, and it's dangerous for the country and for him to be doing this. So you're also looking out for his welfare. and for the welfare of everybody.
It's interesting. 100% agree. When I wrote Saving Leontes as this beat we go into,
Yes.
I again for myself I wrote here, why? You know, why are you doing it? Why are you trying to save him? And the things I wrote were safety of the kingdom and themselves. What might he do to them? This is, you can't have somebody who's so obviously off his nut running the place. It's not good for the kingdom, and it's not good personally. I mean, he just threw the queen in prison. This is not good. It's unsafe in many ways. So
and it's going to lead to Antigonus's death.
Yeah, it will lead to absolutely. He's going to ask you to do horrible things in a minute. Well, I think there is certainly fire in it. I mean, he's offering basically to geld his daughters and himself in a sort of, they're not going to inherit anything. He's not going to. But the images are of, deballing himself practically. So there's certainly fire in there. He's saying that I will make my daughters barren paupers if Hermione says. Very strong language.
Yeah. If she is dishonest, then all women are dishonest, and I will
exactly
not my daughters the opportunity to bring more women into the world.
And I would yoke myself. It's a little tricky language there, but he's basically saying, if that's the case, then I would yoke myself to my wife, who I actually do trust, so that any motion I would see any motion. I mean, she'd be right next to me. I would keep track of her that way. And then a grain of sand the image is a grain of sand against the whole dungy earth. Dungy, right?
Dungy,
of course. Dungy.
What does it mean, Gideon?
Dung is shit.
Oh, dungy, of course.
Yeah. So you're using pretty extreme imagery and imagery. But he is an old man. I think that's something. He's probably not as vigorous as you are physically, as us old men, us four old men here. He is going to be eaten by a bear because he can't run fast enough. Things like that.
He also says his oldest child is 11. So I wondered just how old is old. Maybe he's my age and they're calling him old.
Yeah.
Tony Randall had his first child at like 73. So, where there's a will.
I think there's an interesting blend of fire in the belly, which is fine. I also think the imagery that he is willing to use to the king is indicative of a man who has a kind of license, right, in the court. He's and he will come to you to ask you to poison somebody, right?
Camillo, I think. No, Camillo's gone.
Has that already happened? But I'm losing.
I asked Camillo to poison.
That's Camillo. I'm sorry.
Polixenes.
Yeah, you asked Camillo, of course. Sorry. That's why Camillo flees. Sorry. I got confused.
Which, of course, proves that he's guilty.
I think, can I just suggest what turns him to the fire is the idea of the putter on that will be damned for it. Some demonic person named Iago, for example. I don't know, Paul, if you heard me last week.
I did.
Probably you did. Okay.
And I really liked that comparison to Othello. That was very interesting.
Yeah. The point is that there's an unseen demon here. He's not named. He's not a person. He's not having to do any seduction. It's sudden. But Antigonus brings up the idea of somebody who's putting this on, is making this up. You're abused, you're tricked or lied to by somebody who's putting on a fake show, and it's damnable to have done that. And then I would damn him. That's the beginning of this fire that Geoffrey's talking about. And then he goes into his own daughters. If she is guilty of what this damnable villain says, now he can't call the king a damnable villain, but he's imagining somebody inventing this for Leontes, right? And that's what gets him going. And then he's going to glib himself and all the rest.
There's an interesting mixture. I think he's as fiery as you say, but there's the reason I think he's old or something is he's not Polonius, but there might be a whiff of Polonius about him somehow. Do you know what I mean by that?
I think I do.
He goes on a little too much.
Extravagant. He's a little
exactly.
extravagant in his metaphors.
Well, yeah. I feel like Antigonus gets caught up in the imagery as well.
Yes, yeah. I think that's a very good approach to it. A very good way to see it. Yeah, he gets a little carried away. So, is any of this helping you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think once again, the text is your friend. You let that. It's really all there. He does have a fire, and he is upset at what's going on. His last line is they're going to laugh at us for this. It's absurd what's going on.
And it's ironic that Leontes responds by saying, "You're feeling this coldly, with senses cold." So as fiery as we're talking about him being, Leontes thinks he's just off the trail, lost the scent entirely.
Yeah, because he's blaming some non-person who we don't know, who we know is Leontes.
Man, are you barking up the wrong tree, buddy?
Yeah, Leontes. We know it's Leontes himself. You think it's some villainous person, and all Leontes wants you to be doing is land damning Hermione. My note on land damning says that it's a sort of an amplification of damning. He's not only damned by God, but he's damned on land. Does that make any sense?
The scholars have pursued this term as thoroughly as they could, and there's absolutely no answer to the question where it comes from. It's never used by anyone ever again or before. They don't know what it can mean. It could have been a misprint, or it could be a phrase that's used from some country, something. Anyway, treat it as an intensification of damning.
Yes,
yeah. That's my take on it. What little writing I found on it was what Geoffrey just said. Is that not only are you damned in the heavens by gods, but you're also damned here on earth.
Yeah.
And taking it to mean that is perfectly useful to you, so do it.
And the fact that nobody else ever in Shakespeare or anywhere else in the English language ever uses it is perhaps another little clue about the kind of person he is. That's why I think he has this whiff of Polonius. Yeah. He makes things up.
He'll make up a word.
Comical, historical. There is no such thing.
Right. I have a question.
Yes.
I should just look at it instead of trying to remember it. But I think he says, I will keep my stables where I lodge my wife.
Yes.
Give me your take on it, Geoffrey or Gideon. I'll find the exact line while you're looking.
Yes, it's line 162. If it prove she's otherwise, I'll keep my stables where I lodge my wife. I know intuitively what it means. I can't.
I get. I'll go in couples with her. That I get. But
yeah,
in the sense you'd be yoked right next to her, right?
Okay, because on its face, when I first read it, I thought it meant I'll keep my wife in the stables with the horses because I don't want her around me because I don't trust her.
Not that I don't want her around me. I don't. She deserves to be treated like a beast, like an animal, because all women do. Because if Hermione can behave like this, but it also means a I'm not leaving her to go to my horses. They're gonna be in the same place that it leads to. I'll go in couples with her because I'm not letting her out of my sight.
Okay.
Then when I feel, by the way, I wanted to say then, make the then, not then, but then clear. I will no further trust her than when I feel and see her. So all three ideas are the same, they're versions of the same idea.
Okay, so I'll go in couples with her is not in contradiction to I'll keep her in the stables.
No.
No.
Oh,
the same
see, I
thing.
thought those were in contradiction. That's why I didn't quite get
Yeah.
it.
No, he's building up metaphors to reiterate that she's a beast. She belongs with the horses. I'm never going to, if I have to ride a horse, she's going to be there, right? If I'm in the bedroom with her, it might as well be in the stables where the horses are, because women are beasts if Hermione is false.
Yeah. If you're in couple with her, you can see and feel her every moment.
Yeah,
So
that part I get.
Okay.
Is there any chance, Gideon,
Yes. What?
Geoffrey, that he's not referring to the horses and he's saying, I'll keep myself, and he's using sort of a metaphor for my stables, the things that are my belongings. I'm going to put them where my wife, in her room. I'm going to put all my crap in her room so I can watch her every minute.
Oh,
Could it
that's
be-
an interesting reading of the word stables. Let me look.
Because he doesn't say I'll lodge my wife where I keep my stables. He says I'll
Right.
keep my stables where I lodge my wife.
Yeah, right.
If you think there's no chance that that's possible, then I'm going to go with the horse.
Let me look a little bit. I'll see if I can find you
An
something.
What do you
interesting
think, Gideon?
possibility. While he's looking for that, I'm just going to give you a bit of a line reading here towards the very end,
Yes, sir.
line 207 or so.
Yes, sir.
I wish, my liege, you had only in your silent judgment tried it. I think the operative word there is silent.
Yes,
Got it.
Okay.
I have the same note.
Got it.
And oh, this is just a. Where is, well, Antigonus. Well, when you're going on about your daughters here, the second and third, 9 and some 5, if this proved true, they'll pay fort. Make sure that's one syllable. Fort,
Yes, sir.
right? Get to that T.
Fort.
Okay, I got some stuff for you here.
Okay.
One meaning is I'll lock my wife up as I shut up my mares away from the stallions.
Say that
I'll
one more
run-
time.
I'll lock up my wife as I shut up my mares away from the stallions. You lock the mares in if you don't want the stallions to breed with them. And I'll run coupled to her as though we were a pair of hounds and trust her no farther than I can touch or see her. To keep a stable means to guard. To keep his stable when 'tis empty. Keep meaning, what does he say? Keep. I'll guard my stables where I lodge my wife. So your wife keeps the stable of your honor. Let her be locked in a brazen tower. These are all quotations from other things. So the idea is I'm going to lock her away from all men. All three phrases are I'm going to lock her away from all men. That is, I'm going to guard where she sleeps as I guard the stables that keep the mares from the stallions. I'm going to go in couples with her like two dogs in the hunt, so they can't be separated from each other. And I'm not going to trust her any further than I can feel and see her. That's a lot. I hope it helps.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. Seeing the word keep as guard is very helpful to me.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
I'll guard the place where I keep my wife, really. I keep her in the stable because she's a beast.
Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you. Gideon, can look at 20, what is that? 206, one we just talked about, silent judgment.
Yes, I want you to hit silent too.
Right. I'm scanning the first 3 syllables. What's the opposite of an anapest? Or is this an anapest?
Read it to me. What?
I want to go unstressed, unstressed, stressed. You had only in your silent judgment tried it.
Perfect.
Anapest is the one that's unstressed, unstressed, stressed?
Yes. Pa-pa-pum, pa-pa-pum, pa-pa-pum.
And because anapest sounds like the opposite of what it is. And what's the other word for the other way?
What is it called?
Stressed, unstressed, unstressed?
Yeah, pa-pa, pa-pa. I have to look it up.
And I know that the funny thing is that both words are said in the opposite of what they mean. Right?
What? Say that again?
Anapest itself is stressed, unstressed, unstressed, but it means the opposite. It means unstressed, unstressed, stressed.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's right.
And the other word is a 3-syllable word which does exactly the same thing in the opposite.
So my poem for these meters says, and when Anapest gather, prepare to shout woe, or upon them you something be galloping go. Anyway, I have to find that for you. You had only in your silent judgment tried it. Yes,
Okay,
that's
good.
how you do it. And the point about it is you've made this a public judgment. You should have thought it through first in your own head. While we're stopped, can I do the various lines that I marked?
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing about that line. I don't have any problem if you allied the I and the had. I'm
That
sorry,
same line,
you
silent
and the
judgment?
had.
Yeah, you would
You'd
only,
only in your silent judgment tried
That
it.
only
That's
in your silent judgment tried it.
that's
Okay.
probably what he means. Yeah.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
And as
So,
St. Matthews says, sense always trumps everything.
yes.
The sense of it is you'd only done it quietly or to yourself. Anyway, carry on, Gideon.
Okay, so these might be some for Chris. I think some are for Chris. 71. I would not hit the does. I'd go for the bear.
I'm sorry. Excuse me just a second. I have a cold 13-year-old.
Oh, bless you.
It is Buffalo after
You're in
all.
Buffalo. I know. Winter's closing in.
So I'm in line 71. You hit does, and I know why, and it's going to be your choice.
Uh-huh.
But I want you to feel what it feels like to make it 2 I ams and hit bear. Though he does bear some signs of me, yet you have too much blood in him.
I hear you. Okay.
Okay, so just try it both ways and see what you think. Line 121. This is Hermione. Oh, too late. What did I want to say? Oh, I wanted her to hit then. Okay, I'll keep it for next time. Line 185. Leontes, when you say, and as you feel doing thus, it's a physical gesture. You're pinching him, you're hitting him, you're doing something to him that is dramatizing. I feel it as much as you feel this. And you can box him in the ear, or you can pluck his earlobe, or you can pinch his nose, or you can pinch his arm, or whatever you want to do. There's some gesture there.
It's funny how much that makes sense.
191. What did I mean? Oh, yeah, you said what lack I credit? I as opposed to someone else. I would say you're the kind of king that doesn't have to emphasize that I. You're surprised that you're not being believed. Not because I versus someone else, but because what? I lack credit? How can you say that? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. What's
It,
funny is I have all my scans marked on my sheet, and that I is unstressed. So I don't know why I said it that way.
okay, well, I know why, because all of us in modern theater love to hit pronouns.
And I always try to not whenever it's possible.
Bravo.
He's good at that.
My hero.
Boring.
All right, two more.
Actually, can we back up for just a second?
Yeah.
As you feel doing thus, and let's see with all the instruments that feel. Am I talking about the thing that this instrument that felt to you this? So it's not.
No, it's you. You feel, I feel it, see and feel it, see and feel. Remember, he's used two verbs.
Yeah.
As you feel my punching you, and as you also, with all means also, see my hands that are the instruments that feel. So
that's what I was getting at. So yeah,
that's what I thought. I thought I'd read somewhere that the traditional stage business is to pull his nose, but you could do anything. But the instrument is your hand.
Yeah, you feel it and you see it equally, and that's how clearly I feel and see what she's done. 216. It's not push on this proceeding, it's push on this proceeding. Push it onward.
Yep.
Got it?
Yep.
And then 227, also Leontes. You hit the I a little bit, not very much, but a little bit. And it is in a position of stress, but I really want you to go for satisfied.
I'm sorry, where's this?
Line 228.
228.
Though I am satisfied and need no more than what I know, yet shall the oracle.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not I as opposed to someone else who isn't satisfied. It's I'm satisfied. The king takes himself so for granted that he doesn't have to hit his pronoun.
Sure.
Okay, that's it.
I'm just to give you a hard time, Chris. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of these elisions. It's way back when you're talking about the spider, line 54, I think. I think it works better if it's the abhorred ingredient to his eye.
That's correct.
You take that, whatever that's, so that I syllable out.
Yeah.
Abhorred ingredient to his eye. It works better.
It sure does. In fact, that's also how I scan that word with 3 syllables.
Good.
And then all of that diction training.
I know you. I'm just.
So, yeah, ingredient.
So good. We have to get picky. When you did this, that false villain who I employed was pre-employed by him. You really got that pre. Great. I just want to give you that's a it's a gold star in your forehead. And you did this, and I want to encourage you to go even further, a little further down at the end of this beat, where you say, I note too well. And again, it's note too well.
Mm-hmm.
You get to use those T's. It's like, we're finished with this discussion.
Yes. And there's a missing foot there.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, sorry.
I was just about to look intelligent. There's actually, there's a bunch of missing feet there.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. And, traditionally you can put it at the beginning or the end. It seems to me this is a break. We're moving on to a whole new thing. And I named this next bit moving to action. Mm-hmm. You've had this sort of, how blessed am I? I knew it. There's this spider thing, and here's the den, and there's the thing. And how the fuck did they get out? They opened the door. Yeah, I know.
And I just
moving on, right?
No, I want to reinforce what you're saying.
Yeah.
On your command is 2 feet. I know it too well is 2 feet. Give me the boy is 2 feet. So he's punctuating these 3 related phrases of moving on. He's imitating the same sound in a way with the new idea.
Yeah, all those things. But that one, I mean, there aren't. I think there's somewhere else where there was a missing foot. But this is one where, I mean, he's really written in a big shift.
Yeah.
So, and you did observe it. I want to encourage you to do even more with it.
Observe it more. Sure.
Yeah. Just telling you were doing the right thing there. See if I had anything else for you. It's another good break. Pay for it. Silent. No, I didn't have anything else written down. Let's just do this second part of the scene again for your guys' benefit.
Yeah.
Are there more questions?
No, I mean, not for me.
Gideon, I looked up the form of speech I was thinking of, and I sent it in a chat to you.
Yeah, I can't read the chat for some reason. I'll come to it later. What did it say?
It's called, I didn't want to waste our time with this, but it's called a dactyl. It's not
Dactyls,
a
of course.
at all.
Dactyl.
Yeah,
I could never remember any of these names.
My name is a dactyl. Dumpapa, bumpapa.
Oh, my name is a dactyl. Okay.
Gideon Rappaport.
Yeah. There's a style of poem called the double dactyl, which has very specific rules, and it's very clever. So look them up. You'll have fun.
Great. Let's. I will be the Lord again. I apologize. I switched this on and off to try to avoid the dogs. We have 2 dogs at the moment, but everybody seems calm, so I will try not to get off. So let's start again from the Lord. Beseech your Highness, call the Queen again. Okay.
Okay.
Beseech your Highness, call the Queen again.
Be certain what you do, sir, lest your justice prove violence, in the which 3 great ones suffer: yourself, your queen, your son.
For her, my lord, I dare my life lay down, and will do't, sir, please you to accept it, that the Queen is spotless in the eyes of heaven, and to you, I mean, in this which you accuse her.
If it prove she's otherwise, I'll keep my stables where I lodge my wife. I'll go in couples with her. Then when I feel and see her, no father trusts her. For every inch of woman in the world, aye, every dram of woman's flesh is false, if she be.
Hold your pieces.
Good my lord.
It is for you we speak, not for ourselves. You are abused, and by some putter on that will be damned for it. Would I knew the villain, I would land damn him. Be she honor flawed, I have 3 daughters. The eldest is 11, the second and the third 9, and some 5. If this prove true, they'll pay for it. By mine honor, I'll geld them all. 14 they shall not see to bring false generations. They are co-heirs, and I had rather glib myself than they should not produce fair issue.
Cease. No more. You smell this business with a sense as cold as a dead man's nose, but I do see it and feel it as you feel doing thus, and see with all the instrument that you feel.
If it be so, we need no grave to bury honesty. There's not a grain of it the face to sweeten of the whole dungy earth.
What? Lack I credit?
I had rather you did lack it, my lord, than my lord, upon this ground. And more it would content me to have her honor true, than your suspicion. Be blamed for it how you might.
Why, what need we commune with you of this, but rather follow our forceful instigation? Our prerogative calls not your counsels, but our natural goodness imparts this, which if you, stupefied or seeming so in skill, cannot or will not relish a truth like this, inform yourselves we need no more of your advice. The matter, the loss, the gain, the ordering on't is all properly ours.
And I wish, my liege, you had only in your silent judgment tried it, without more overture.
How could that be? Either thou art more ignorant by age, or thou art born a fool. Camillo's flight, added to their familiarity, which was as gross as ever touched conjecture, that lacked sight only, not for approbation, but only seeing all other circumstances made up to the deed, doth push on this proceeding. Got it.
Actually, start that line again.
Let me do that again
because
that's one of those places where
it's a tough one.
I gotta slow the hell down because I'm the words are going faster than my brain is following them. You know what I mean?
Because the sense of it is Camillo's flight, added to their familiarity, doth push on this proceeding. Right?
Yeah.
Everything in between is parenthetical.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
What you're going for is everything that's happened is moving this along. These things have happened. So let's just go back and do that because it's a tough one. Although the beginning is great.
Do you want the cue?
And that's there's it. There's the textual clue as to his age.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is like, okay, boomer.
Either you're stupid or you're so fucking old.
Yeah.
You can't see what's going on. So that's a clue from him about you, Antigonus.
I just want to add that the madness began with him interrupting himself and his thoughts constantly. There are lots and lots of dashes going on, and he's still in that condition. So that's why these sentences are broken up with these self-interruptions. It's standard for him till the light dawns.
Just one other thing.
Yes.
Where am I? Since we're stopped, I'm going to give you Antigonus. You're going to give him his line again. And I wish my liege. Silent judgment is nearly right. Throw away judgment. All I want to hear is silent, right?
Got it.
Okay. If you hit them both, we get confused.
What? And there's a missing foot here too, right? When that shared line between properly ours and I wish, my liege. If not a whole foot, there's a missing unit. There's a missing syllable.
There's a half foot missing, but you fill it up with the pause between properly ours and I wish, my liege.
That's what I did. Okay.
Yeah, there's one unstressed syllable missing, and that's falls between the two of them.
Yes, and speaking of missed syllables, I think we have one here. Chris, in your line, yet for a greater confirmation. I think that's only yet for a greater confirmation.
No, it's 5, but it's Meishion. It's 2. It's the extra syllable that we don't.
Oh, so it is. That sort of accomplishes the same thing, which is to slow it down. It's we're entering yet another whole new world here. It's like you've answered Antigonus. We've got to move on with this proceeding. But for a greater confirmation, I have done this. What do you think of that, guys? Right? There's a new energy there. Mm-hmm. So let's just go, since we've only got a couple of minutes left. Let's go from and I wish, my liege, You had only in your silent judgment tried it. Let's go from there.
And I wish, my liege, you had only in your silent judgment tried it, without more overture.
How could that be? Either thou art most ignorant by age, or thou art born a fool. Camillo's flight, added to their familiarity, which was as gross as ever touched conjecture, that lacked sight only, not for approbation, but only seeing, all other circumstances made up the deed, doth push on this proceeding. Yet, for a greater confirmation, for in an act of this importance 'twere the most piteous to be wild, I have dispatched in post to sacred Delphos, to Apollo's temple, Cleomenes and Dion, whom you know of stuffed sufficiency. Now, from the oracle they will bring all, whose spiritual counsel shall stop or spur me. Have I done well?
Well done, my lord.
Though I am satisfied and need no more than what I know, yet shall the oracle give rest to the minds of others, such as he whose ignorant credulity will not come up to the truth. So have we thought it good from our free person she should be confined, lest that the treachery of those two fled hence be left her to perform. Come, follow us. We are to speak in public, for this business will raise us all.
To laughter, as I take it, if the good truth were known.
Good, guys. Good.
Good. I have three brief things.
Quick.
Starting from the end, if the good truth were known, I'd not do that up lilt on your voice at the end. Go for the punctuation that ends the scene, I guess is what I'm saying. Line 202. Chris, you said relish truth like this, but it's like us, meaning feel the way we feel it, the way we feel it. Are you there?
I am there. Like I said, I cut and paste these into something so I could spread it out and write a bunch of stuff down, and the line numbers didn't come with. So
okay, so it's a speech that begins, what need we commune with you of this?
Yes, thank you.
And then you go down a little and it says, cannot or will not relish a truth like us.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, and then this is for you, Geoffrey, on line 192, since you're going to be reading the Lord.
Yeah, please.
Let's have the antithesis there. I had rather you did lack than I.
Yes. I literally just marked that because after I said it, I saw that doesn't make sense. Yes.
Okay, that's it. Good work, guys.
Super good, everyone. Great work. We throw a lot at you, and you always take these notes extremely well.
Yes.
Nice to have you along, Paul. As I said to Shannon, do look this over a couple of times, because next week we're going to be, you don't have to be off book, but you're going to be looking at the camera more than the page.
May I ask, which version of Antigonus did you prefer?
The way you're going, the second one.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to make him doddering, but keep whatever you think of Polonius, that's more what this guy is like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except he's virtuous rather than self-deluded.
Yes. No, he's virtuous. He's yeah. He's a little old. He's perhaps a little older than you. So I would say, certainly in his mind.
So less accusatory toward Leontes. And if there is anger, it's directed to the situation. But the first one was a little bit accusatory.
Again, think of that name I gave this whole beat, which is saving Leontes. It's not punishing Leontes. It's not getting at him. It's saving him, which is a way of saving the country and yourself. When things are out of joint, I want them back order. That's what we like in this world. in the world of Winter's Tale and in Shakespeare's world. That's what we like. Order is a good thing. And so it's you're not angry at him, you're baffled by what he's doing. So try to bring him around, try to save him, try to save his soul. Think of it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. Nathan.
Yeah, great work, everybody. Really enjoyable to listen to. I couldn't possibly talk about any specific moments. There were just a lot. I really enjoyed all the work you guys are doing, and thank you very much for doing it, for being here. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a blast.
An absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great work, guys.
Wonderful work. I'll see you next week. Do take a look at it. Okay.
Thank you.
See you guys all then.
Bye, guys. Bye, Gideon.
Bye.